Radioactivity was discovered just 100 years ago. And 40 years later, Glenn Seaborg discovered plutonium. He was fascinated by this miracle, this source of energy, and he believed that it would be possible with this element to make the deserts blossoming, to make the seawater potable, to produce light and electricity for the whole big city just by one reactor, and etc. Instead, this miracle, this physical phenomena, radioactivity, and a new element, plutonium, which almost does not exist in nature, was used by politicians for producing dozens of thousands of nuclear weapons, which means weapons of mass destruction. Instead, we saw vast areas, both in the United States and in the former Soviet Union, the so-called superpowers. These vast areas devastated by radioactivity, Hanford Reservation and Savan Riverside in the United States, and in Russia even more severely devastated. Chelyabinsk region in the Urals Mountains after accident, Kishtina accident of 1957. Very big areas, large areas in Siberia where reprocessing plants are still operating. Very vast areas after Chernobyl accident, both in the former Soviet Union and even in the United States, overseas. We, instead of this miracle producing prosperity for people, we see huge stockpiles of radioactive waste, which are increasing every year. We now worldwide have already 150,000 tons of spent fuel, and this stockpile is increasing 10,000 tons annually, and nobody knows what to do with this stuff. I should tell you that nuclear industry worldwide has cold feet. They really have very hard time because recognition came to people that 100 years of mismanagement of the physical phenomena, radioactivity, led to economic, environmental, and human devastation in this world. But nuclear industry wants to survive, and they are promoting crazier and crazier projects. In 1996, the business in the United States wanted to build international storage facility at the Wake Island in Palmyra Atoll. This project was stopped. But now the same people, supported by Russian nuclear industry and politicians, try to promote the same project to build international storage facility for spent fuel from the worldwide reactors in Siberia, in Russia. It is very hard to resist such projects because very big politics and very big money are involved. Is it hard to be an anti-nuclear activist? Yes, it is. My dearest teacher in life and a great supporter of environmental and anti-nuclear activist Joanna Macy calls time when we live the great turning, and she says that we are participants of the great turning, and it is hard to be participants of the great turning. That's why for me it is very important to be here, because I consider this meeting, this gathering, this ceremony as a celebration of us being together. I feel I'm not alone. Yesterday I was warmed very warmly, I was greeted very warmly at the Mother Earth gathering, and it really healed my soul and gave me more energy to continue. Thank you. We see that our governments still contract nuclear industry to sophisticate nuclear weapons and to produce new generations of nuclear warheads. We see that both Russian and American governments and their new military doctrines admit the first strike use of nuclear weapons. That means that governments distrust each other, and that the border between the Cold War world and the post-Cold War world is very vulnerable. Can we trust our future to the governments? No. What governments think and do is quite different from what citizens feel, how they feel, and what they want. I do not want to exchange with American people the first strikes. I want to exchange with you my feeling of beauty. When I travel to the United States, I see how pretty your country is, how beautiful it is. When I travel to Japan, I'm fascinated by Japanese culture. When I travel to Germany, I'm fascinated by European culture, and I feel these ties, my personal ties with European culture. I do not want all this to be destroyed. I want us to be friends. I want you to come to my home. I want to cook for you. I want to ask, how are you doing? I'm not your enemy. Neither my children nor my small grandson are. My little grandson is quite an intellectual lad of 4 years old. He is really intellectual, and maybe he will become a physicist. I bet he will. But I'm trying to help him to preserve his childish fascination of the miracles of the universe, how a tornado works, how atom splits. But to see this beauty, to be fascinated, and to preserve his integrity. And again, thank you so much, and I promise I will continue. Thank you.